Lightning Lane Single Rider and Lightning Lane Multipass have been added to the Genie section of the My Disney Experience app. But Disney's not going to stop there. A new rumor says that Disney is going for something to compete with Universal's prices. Universal that charges $150 for their Express Pass. Well, Disney is looking for something called Lightning Lane Premier Pass to add to the expense of your degree in Disney. Will it actually help you in the parks? We don't know, but let's talk about it here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place. And here with me today is my Wiki co-pilot, Mr. VashSky. Vash, what in the world is a Premier Pass?
Oh, well, a Premier Pass originally started as the coast-to-coast pass from Walt Disney World and Disneyland, so that if annual pass holders could embark on two adventures there at a premium price, obviously. But now, apparently, it's being rebranded again, and I say again because we'll get into it, folks, to be the next tier of Lightning Lane. Very interesting.
Yeah, let's talk about this rumor out of Blog Mickey. Rumor Walt Disney World to debut Universal Express style Skip the Lane offering. Now, the only reason that I put that $150 price point right there here is if they are actually doing a Universal Express Pass, the only thing that is good about Universal Express Pass, and it might save the parks over there at Universal Studios, is that it is $150. It is nothing to sneeze at over there. So nobody buys it unless they are really serious about skipping the line. So it doesn't affect most customers. Let's talk about what Disney might be doing here. As Walt Disney World continues to evolve its skip the line system from Disney Genie Plus to Lightning Lane Multipass, contact your doctor to find out if Lightning Lane Multipass is right for you. We have a new rumor that a new product offering is on the horizon. First rumored to be just for the Disneyland Resort, we can now report that Lightning Lane Premier Pass is planned to come to Walt Disney World as well. Originally, by the way, I thought that Premier Pass was just going to be the rebranding of Multipass over there at Disneyland Resort. Vash, you know much more about Disneyland versus Walt Disney World than I do. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it is interesting, right? So it occurred to me when we were doing the story on Disneyland originally that it seemed like they were maybe possibly generating more potential revenue from Disneyland itself. Disneyland visitors, obviously being within 250 miles predominantly at Disneyland, well, they don't really, buy into services like this because they're there so frequently. But it seems like this Premier Pass system might actually be a take on perhaps Universal's Express Pass system, which is very, very interesting, much different than we were outlining. And we'll get into the details of that in the article here.
That's right. Here, let's go to their words for that. What will Lightning Lane Premier Pass be? We have an idea, but details are still scarce as Disney finalizes the product for a rumored 2024 review. We are recording this on September 9th of 2024. That leaves very few months left in 2024 for this to debut. And it would mean it is very rushed. It sounds like the way they're intending on paying for this rushed design system here is to pay a premium price. My goodness, Disney, you just changed this from Genie Plus to Lightning Lane Multipass like 3 minutes ago.
Yes. Another lane change, as one might say. That's me there. But when you look at this, Jonas, it's interesting because I believe the original incarnation of Genie Plus, which was take on Max Pass, and obviously it's like Fast Pass 2.0, but paid. It's a whole mess, Jonas. But the original Genie Plus was debuted on October of 2021. So if we look at the timeline, it all kind of syncs up with what they've done previously as they get ready for the very lucrative holiday season.
Mm-hmm. It's also worth noting that we expect there to be differences in the Premier Pass product at Disneyland versus Walt Disney World. Oh, that's fantastic. Here's what we expect to be announced. The rumored Lightning Lane Premier Pass would be similar to the Universal Express Pass at Universal Orlando Resort. Essentially, guests who purchase Lightning Lane Premier Pass would be able to skip the line at eligible Lightning Lane attractions once per day without the need to book a return window. This would be Walt Disney World's premium skip the line service, short of doing a VIP tour for the day. As of published time, we're not sure what the pricing would be, but you can expect that a premium product would demand a premium price. And Disney could do the cool thing here with this ridiculous service and charge about the same amount as Universal. But Universal, well, Disney views them as inferior to them, and so Disney would probably put their price a little bit higher than Universal's as well. I'm also going to point out that Universal's product works because it's expensive. I said this in the start of the video, and I'm going to say this again because I say this every time we talk about Genie Plus and its mask that it's now wearing, saying that it is Lightning Lane Multipass. Lightning Lane Multipass is just expensive enough that, just cheap enough that everyone buys it. They have a very high buy-in rate. So you feel stupid for not getting it if you're at the parks once in a blue moon kind of thing. But you also feel stupid for getting it because everybody gets it at that price point. So Lightning Lane sold out. Obviously, the DAS system was changed because of the abuse of Genie Plus, and that has apparently made the Lightning Lane situation a little bit better at Walt Disney World Resort, but is still problematic, still not moving things the way that it should. We're hearing that parks have softened there at Disney, so maybe this is a way to milk a little bit more out of guests. Vash, there was a leak recently that said that Genie Plus, again, the same as Lightning Lane Multipass, made $741 million for the company in the period that it was used. And this is essentially a free, it's free money for Disney because all they're doing is taking away a perk from guests. Vash, do you think that this would be successful at the company if they're not getting rid of multipass and single rider here?
Yeah, I would actually think it's going to be a successful product here. But the issue is the one you point out in your question, is that we're assuming that this is going to be added to the current system, which would be so tragic for the guest experience. But when it comes to, revenue potential, yeah, I do believe it would be successful. And it just depends on how they divvy up these products from their other ones, because, well, obviously each ride at Walt Disney World has a set capacity, right? You're not going to add more capacity when you add these services. So you're going to have to divvy up this to some degree. And depending on how they do that,
right,
I mean, it's another potential revenue stream on top of what they already currently have, and for a higher price point. The problem, though, is really with the guest experience. You see, yes, it was free in that they essentially took a product which was FastPass, right, which was an unpaid system included with park admission, and separated that out as its own product. But what they bought there was goodwill. What they bought there was heavy points of confusion. There was a lot of investment actually made to change over signage and to train up staff and add IT infrastructure to allow for these things, right? And all of that has just really degraded the guest experience at the Disney parks. Right. This, I would think, would add to that.
So I and you've got more information that to add in here, but I just want to explain for anybody who does not understand how the current system. Of course, you've got the My Disney Experience app. Within that is a service called Genie that's supposed to direct your day. At Genie Plus was the paid service that would allow for skipping the line features. With Lightning Lane Multipass, at 7 a.m. on your day, you can, depending on whether or not you have a hotel stay, and also depending on when your hotel stay starts on Disney property and all that, you can reserve your first Lightning Lane Multipass probably from a tier 1 ride, and then after that one, you can reserve from the tier 2 pool. And there's one more. I'm not sure if there's an additional tier that is a lesser attraction that you would have to book from, but you have to start using them before you can book the next one. This is not including the rides that are only on Lightning Lane Single Pass, like Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, Avatar Flight of Passage, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Thank you, Blog Mickey, for listing those out here. Essentially, it sounds like Premier Pass says you don't have to go through that reservation system, which everyone hates right now. That reservation system is not popular, but if you want to do your, degree in Disney and give the many of the mothers who are planning these Disney vacations for their families the heart attack of trying to figure out how to book these rides for all of their families here, if you want to do away with that, you can just get Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Vash, please take this from me. If I've said anything incorrect there in this gobbledygook of a reservation system that Disney has right now, just add clarity for me.
Yeah, so with the multi-pass branding change from Genie Plus. They also added the ability to reserve your attractions in advance. So I believe up to 7 days for everybody, and then I think 14 days for resort guests. Don't quote me on that. But the advanced reservation was supposed to take care of a lot of like the 7 a.m. let's say struggle session that guests would go through at the start of their vacation. This doesn't sound great, folks. So this though would get around that system, or at least that's the thought process, the speculation, based on what we know, based on what we've seen from other parks around the world. Supposedly this, like Universal's Express Pass, would give you just lightning lane access for a myriad of attractions within the resort without having to jump through the reservation hoops attached to Genie Plus, or now multi-pass lightning lane. And so, yeah, I mean, if you were to price it competitively, let's say, I don't know, anywhere between $200 to $300 some dollars or so per person, service like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Per person.
Yeah.
Not just that you walk into the park and your party of 6 pays $300. We're talking about 6 times 3. We're talking about essentially $1,800. More there if it's a $300 purchase, which it might be on some busy days. This is why Universal Express Pass doesn't affect most guests, because most guests do not buy it.
Well, and they cap it too. So even if they do have a run on those express passes, because obviously they include them with deluxe resort stays and so forth. So there could be an issue in which, maybe the express pass experience is diminished. They cap it though. They have controls in which maintains the experience, and that goes both ways, by the way. Because if you have more people in these lightning lanes or express pass lanes, well, then obviously that the standby gets the short end of the stick right here, and that's really the crux of what's happening with the current lightning lane service. Because the opt-in is so high, we've heard 50% people buying into this service, and then obviously, well, that's just not 50% of people in the lightning lane queue, for example. Oh no, those ratios can obviously swing wildly as the demand for the tier 1 attractions increases and so forth. So it gets very complicated and very fast. If they were to implement a system like this and completely get rid of single pass or multi-pass and just have this premier pass and control it in a similar way that Universal does, I think they would make up for the potential revenue loss from the huge buy-in. But because it's such an expensive product, it would, I think, increase the value of that product while also preserving the sanctity of the standby line, and so both can move as efficiently as possible. That would be the ideal scenario under such a system, because they're not going to get rid of the $741 million that they've made off of these paid skip the line features. That's not going away. That would be the optimum, that would be the premium, but I don't think that's what they're going to do, Jonas. I think they're just going to add this on to what they already have and attempt to make as much money as possible,
which is just frankly just greedy at this point. Right. I get it. They're fighting for survival right now. They don't want to admit that's what they're doing, but they're trying to fight for survival as the theme park audience loses interest in what they're doing and focuses on their other competitors. There should be some kind of a boost when Epic Universe opens, but right now Universal is outclassing them on marketing, they're outclassing them on storytelling, and they might be outclassing them on magic at this point. So Universal as a theme park division is moving in the right direction, and Disney is not. I don't see this as a positive. I see this as yet more separation between the haves and the have-nots at Disney, which would have driven Walt nuts.
Oh, it would have been absolutely terrible. There's no way he would opt in for a system like this. Maybe he could be persuaded with fastpass, but not this. This is absolutely intolerable. Now, previously they had steered away from systems like this, Jonas, because they didn't want to actually affect the tour groups, the premium tour groups that they offer at guest relations there. If we've seen maybe celebrities utilize these tour groups. They call them plaids, these cast members that lead around these VIPs and get them basically all access on all of their attractions. Now, I mean, that's a service that ranges in the thousands of dollars. So they didn't want to offer a service that could undermine that. But I'm sure they'll have some controls and so forth in order to preserve the sanctity of that product. Don't get me wrong there.
Oh,
But
I know.
just-
I know what they'll do. They'll just raise the price on that.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. That's perfect, Jonas.
I'll be here all
This
week.
is-
Thank you.
It's just terrible. It's just terrible the situation they find themselves in, because they become attached to a revenue stream that they cannot move away from. You have a segment of the guests that expect Skip the Line services to be available in some form or fashion, and this beast just keeps feeding into itself, and it's just a horrible situation, and it is really destroying the guest experience at Disney. And again, if they could control themselves, maybe this wouldn't be such a bad issue, but they can't help themselves, Jonas. They can't do it. It's impossible.
Yep. Well, and if this is successful, well, then I think that is Disney needs to give up on the idea of being a populist company at that point. Well, we want to throw this to our commenters here. What do you think about Lightning Lane Premier Pass? Is this something that if it's your once in a lifetime visit to the park, you're going to use? Or is this something that you just think is ridiculous? Like maybe I do. Like this video if you like this video, of course, and stay tuned because we've got a lot to cover here on That Park Place.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.